Hey guys, WrestleMania Night 2 is in the books. It is over with, and let's talk about that main event. Holy shit. Let's talk about The Rock. Let's talk about John Cena winning number 17. Let's talk about Cody Rhodes. Let's talk about how WWE made the shittiest decision I have ever seen as a wrestling fan in the last since WrestleMania 27, which was one of the worst WrestleManias of all time.
Which one was
This,
that?
I don't even remember what the goddamn main event was of that one anymore, but I just remember it was terrible.
Okay.
Uh, all the same.
Let's talk about dumpster fires.
So let's get into this. We'll give you just a quick breakdown of what the main event is, what how the main event went down. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant, and then Sean, I'm going to just kick it over to you, and you can bring the positivity like you always do, because boy, oh boy. So this main event started actually kind of good, right? John Cena came out, and it was actually kind of cool the way they presented John Cena, right? Like came out, had the new black, last time is now shirt, and it was all black. Like everything was all black. There was no, none of the John Cena colors or any of the John Cena nonsense that you typically see, right? It was just a um, big black picture on the screen and on the crazy WrestleMania set, and just in big white lettering, it said John Cena. Came out to the ring. That was fine, right? Cody got his big old, Cody had his big old Homelander thing on like he always does. Had the kind of the cool Iron Man mask that sort of popped up. That was pretty neat. There were cyclists going around back and forth, and that was all well and good. And then, you know, they had their match, and it was exactly kind of what we expected it to be. Kind of dog shit because John Cena can't go. John Cena's old. He looked old. He just simply can't go. And Cody sold his ass off for John Cena. So to all these pieces of shit in the stands who were booing the shit out of Cody, you guys were the worst goddamn audience I've ever seen at a WrestleMania. You were terrible. Both nights, you were terrible. Every single one of these performers, minus John Cena, poured their heart and souls into these damn matches, and you guys looked like absolute ass. You really did. The audience should be ashamed of themselves, especially for the amount of money you paid for those effing tickets. Like for real. So then, of course, we kind of get to the sort of what we thought was going to be the second sequence of this match, where Travis Scott,
Fuck that.
140-pound Travis Scott, gets his own entrance and takes his sweet ass time to get to the damn ring, and gets himself involved in the match. Cody does get his receipt on there, but then we have this kind of final sequence where Cody and John kind of go for the title. John goes to try and hit Cody with the title. Cody grabs it. All of a sudden, Cody gets this crisis of conscience. Like, are you effing kidding me, Cody? This dude kicked you in the dick, bloodied you with a brass knuckle, beat your ass in, and all of these different things, and made you look like a damn fool, and you have a crisis of conscience. This is I'll end my rant in a minute here. But then we get John Cena, Travis Scott kind of pulls him down. John Cena kicks Cody in the dick, hits him in the face with the title. 1, 2, 3 for the pin. And I was like, what the fuck? What the hell just happened? What did I just watch? And I really wanted to give this kind of like a lot of thought, because you know what? Leading up to this show was actually pretty damn good. It's a pretty damn good night too. Almost every single match like was great. I mean, there were, the Logan Paul AJ Styles one wasn't the best, but all the rest of it was fantastic. I enjoyed the hell out of night 2 of WrestleMania. Felt it picked right up where night 1 left off. But my God. So Sean, I'm gonna let you. I've been going for a while here. I'm gonna let you just give a couple of thoughts here on everything. But then I really want to lay into The Rock, because I think The Rock is a piece of shit, and I think that The Rock is the reason that this whole fucking thing went down the way it did.
So normally I try to bring the positivity to most of these things. I try to look at things from a positive spin. I don't know that I can do that with this. After spending the day thinking about this in preparation for this show for today, where does this leave the state of the WWE when it comes to the Undisputed Championship at this point? Where was The Rock? Why did Travis Scott get a 16-minute entrance? What what was the fucking point of this? I'm sorry, I don't swear very often, but what the hell was the point? Like, why did you waste the fact that you managed to turn this WrestleMania into a damn good WrestleMania for the most part? Yeah, there were a couple small misses, but nothing super bad considering some manias in the past. But like you make this whole big deal out of The Rock coming back, trying to take Cody's soul, that whole big story, Cena turning heel, and then The Rock just never shows up again. The linchpin of this storyline isn't even there. And then I don't want to hear this, oh, Cody had a crisis of conscience. Cody cheated to beat KO. Cody went vicious when he fought KO in that match too. There's no reason Cody shouldn't have hit him with that title. They booked Cody to look like a bitch. I'm sorry to put it bluntly,
He did. He
but
looked like a geek. He
at
looked like a
the
geek.
end of it all, he looked like a tool. I'm sorry, and that's your hero, your white meat baby face champion. Sorry, I'm getting so angry that I'm stuttering here. Like, and I just how do you bury him that badly? Because that's basically what this was. It was a burial.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. So let's talk about that because like there are so many like layers to all of this, right? And you've got this is how, first of all, WWE, this is how you wanted to give John Cena number 17. Like,
Right.
I love, and first of all, number 17 is kind of bullshit anyway, because Ric Flair actually won 21. But that's neither here nor there. WWE says it's 16. Fine, right? You want to, but you give John Cena number 70, this record breaking thing that we've been talking about forever. Like, John Cena has been trying to win number 17 since 5, 6 years now. Like, I mean, since the like they actually started like making mention of the fact that this was going to be number 17 for him, it's been being talked about for a long time. And this is how you decided to you at Elimination Chamber, you had one of the greatest heel turns ever in the history of wrestling. And this is your payoff to it. The
You
Rock
wasted it.
couldn't be bothered to drag his fucking ass out of Hawaii or wherever the hell he was to just make an appearance. All he needed to do was make an appearance. And then all of this shit going on with this guy, where it's like you show up, you cut some cryptic fucking promo, and then what? Where are you? What, like, why aren't you involved? You're on the board of directors of this company. Like, I'm sorry. You force these writers and everybody in this company to just work around your stupidity and your fucking schedule when you just decide to show up and do whatever you want. Like, I get it. The Rock, he had his time. Like, he was incredible. Him and Austin and all those guys in the 90s when they were running the ship, they were great. There was nothing better. But I'm sorry, dude. Your ego and you're just thinking you're just king shit here because you're on the board of directors and you think that, just because you are who you are, like you can just ruin this for all of the fans. And I get it. There's a lot of people out there who are saying, "Oh, well, John Cena's whole thing was that he was going to ruin wrestling." I'm sorry. This isn't like a storyline ruining wrestling. This is making the dude who carried your company for a whole year after Roman Reigns, which everyone is pretty much in agreement was one of the greatest title reigns of all time, right? So you had a guy in Roman Reigns who held that title for what was it, 1,300 some odd days, 12 or 1,265, whatever it was, 1,300 days. Dude held that title. And then you had last year's WrestleMania's main event, which was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. I cried at the end of that goddamn main event last year.
I remember
And
that.
you crowned a new guy. You have that's your guy. That is your guy to take to take that title to end that historic title reign. And he loses because of a kick to the dick and a hit in the face with the title. Like that's it. Like it took all of those guys last year and they couldn't put Cody down, and a kick to the dick from
And
a 146-pound rapper puts him
just
down. And nothing
just
against
to
Travis
interject,
Scott. I love Travis Scott's music, but like, really? Dude's 140 pounds soaking wet. Like, get out of here.
just to interject, all Cody did was sell for Cena that entire match. That entire match. yeah, he ended up hitting a crossroads on each of them, but he spent the entire time doing his damnedest to make senior citizen Cena look like he could still go in the ring. And nothing against Cena. I mean, yeah, good for him. He deserves to be their record holder for everything he did for the company. But if I'm him, I'm not happy that this is the way they gave it to me. And honestly, if this is what they need to do to massage The Rock's ego, if I'm any of these superstars who work there on a day-to-day basis in the back, I'm pissed about this too. What does this say about what this writing team and The Rock's custom writer are going to do when he decides to show up on a random Monday 2 months down the road and says, "Oh, that guy had a match. Sorry, I'm going to have a segment now where I'm going to go out and I'm going to jerk off in the ring and do nothing." Like, what does that tell you for is going to happen with this company? And I get it. You want it for the PR because it's The Rock. Oh, on the board of directors. For a final boss, he's a pussy.
I mean, where's the like? Obviously, we never got the payoff right to Rock's match with Cody, which was set up literally the day after WrestleMania last year. That never happened. It was a year ago. Remember when he came out and they exchanged titles and we were like, oh, there's going to be a match between the two of them at next year's WrestleMania. That never happened. The match with Roman, where was that? That never happened. Dude comes out like 3, 4 times a year, does some kind of cryptic nonsense, and then these writers are forced to just completely change the story to feed that man's ego. And like we the fans are left being like, what the hell did we just watch? Like, this is your payoff? I can't. I can't with it. It really pisses me off. I'm still gonna obviously watch Monday Night Raw tonight, and I'm gonna I'm very curious to see like where they go with this. But if Bro couldn't be even bothered to make an appearance, I'm sorry, fuck him. Like, dude,
Your biggest show of the year.
like you he was on Instagram. He was on Instagram, literally in Hawaii, just chilling. Like, dude, you're a piece of shit. Like this is all about your ego. This is not you don't give a shit about these fans. You obviously don't give a shit about like making money for this company because all you had to do was show up and the amount of good press that this would have gotten because it's pretty much unanimously online that everybody thinks that this is idiotic. Like there's not like yeah, the fans there, they were cheering, but they were just cheering because Cena won. Like they didn't give a shit like about anything. And everybody else who was just watching it was just like, what? What
My
just happened?
other question for you: all the booing for Cody, was that piped in? Do you think?
Oh, I don't know.
Because it seemed like there was an oddly large number of boos for Cody for versus normal. And I don't know if that's just because this isn't your normal wrestling audience at Mania. Um, the other thing that I literally just thought of during our rants here is what if this is Rock's way of punishing Cody for everything that happened last WrestleMania season?
I
For
mean,
Cody, for
yeah.
Cody and the Cody Crybabies re-hijacking what should have been his storyline anyway. Is this The Rock's way of punishing him for that? Because The Rock is a petty asshole?
I mean, it's certainly possible. And I mean, you look at the merch that this dude sells and like how over this dude is with the fans. And I mean, other than this last 2 times in Las Vegas, Cody is incredibly over. Everywhere they go. You mean to tell me people aren't cheering the shit out of this dude, singing his song and doing everything else? And I get it. I know I'm a little bit biased because I really like Cody, but I would have kind of been pissed if this was anybody. Like, what if they did this to Roman Reigns? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? What if they did this to CM Punk or Seth Rollins? You know what I mean? Like, what if they did this to any one of these guys? You've been furious. Like, I'm sorry, The Rock is a bitch, and I had such respect for that man when he wrestled when he was in the company, and in the '90s when it was him and Austin and his match with Hogan and everything else. Like I loved The Rock, I really did. Now, dude, stay the fuck away from my wrestling. Like you're a piece of
Exactly.
shit. You're an egomaniac, and like I don't want you here anymore. I don't want you here. I don't want you around. You're just a piece of shit egomaniac.
I mean, if all he's going to do is come in and ruin the storylines that are put in place stay the hell away. Like if I don't know if there's any bigger of an ego definer for him than the fact that he has his own personal writer. Like, how do you have somebody who's not even involved in the writing room that you have that comes in and writes segments for you? How does that even line up with anything? How is the actual WWE writers room supposed to tell um a concrete, understandable story? I mean, the way these stories are coming, it's hotshot booking. It's like something you'd see out of the other promotion where they're just pulling it out of their ass.
Well, what Vince
And
used to do.
that's not what WWE does. WWE is known for their set storylines and for having believable reasons for things happening. Like, you know what? I'm fine if Cena wants to cheat to win. If it's an homage to Flair being like the dirtiest player in the game. And you know what? I'm cool with that. But to have it come down to friggin' Travis Scott by himself coming
Yeah.
out with what should have been, and on top of that, what should have been an automatic DQ when he pulled the ref out of the ring. Like, it's almost as bad as that Hell in a Cell match that ended on a disqualification. It makes that little sense.
I mean, well, and that's just it, right? Like you treat your fans like they're stupid. That's the payoff. That's the payoff to the greatest heel turn of all time, to the most what was supposed to be the most incredible championship win of all time. And don't get me wrong, right? Like I want to stress this to our audience that watches this. That was the right result.
Yep.
Like Cena winning was the right result. The execution is what the problem was. I have no problem with Cody losing. I mean, I was rooting for Cody to win. I wanted Cody to win, but Cena winning was the right result. You can't have him not win the title after that heel turn. You can't do that. But to do it that way, because this piece of shit just can't show up for 5 minutes and just hit him with a rock bottom, or just tell or have or hell, you have Cody win, you do a dusty finish, and you have the Rock come out and just say, nope, we're starting the match again. Rock hits him with the rock bottom, and then Cena pins him or blasts him with the title. I would have been fine with that. Like
Yep.
there's so many scenarios that you could have just made up, but all it required was this egomaniac to show up for 5 minutes and just do that. But instead, you send 146-pound Travis Scott, and nothing against him. Dude probably got paid $1 million to do that. So, like, fine, fine.
You know what? That's my other question too, is they want to make such a big deal about The Rock being the on the board of directors and the final boss and the head of the board. Wouldn't you think that's somebody who would be at your biggest goddamn show of the year?
Yeah. I mean, hell, Tony Khan was right there in the front of the very front row, making sure
The
that
con-
that one woman didn't isn't going to sue the WWE. We'll get
make
into that in a second.
make sure you get your con right because we have the good con in
Oh yeah,
WWE.
Nick Khan. My bad, my bad, my bad. Yeah, I'm so flustered. I just mixed up the cons.
It just it none of it makes sense to me at the end of the day. Like I said, after spending because I know we were all real heated yesterday after this ended. My bigger and so I wanted to take the day to think about it. Well, and I'm pretty sure you did the same. And I think that's the most frustrating part is I couldn't come to a logical conclusion for why they did would go this direction. And the frustrating part for me is that I know that this isn't the way that Triple H would have booked this.
Nope.
This came from above.
Mhm. And guys, we like here on this channel, one of the things you'll see with us over our coverage of these wrestling events, normally we try to really take a positive spin on a lot of these things. And at the same time, though, we want to be real with you. Like, we want to be real with you about how we're feeling about things, because you know what? If we just put a positive spin on everything, that's not interesting, right? Like, we want to be interesting. We want to kind of like make it interesting for you guys. And you know what? If you guys disagree with us and you think we're way off the base here, and you think that there's something else going on, or you think we're just completely full of crap, tell us. Put it in the comments down below. We want to engage with you guys. We want to know how you're feeling about this. Did you think that this was the worst main event in WrestleMania history? Because I mean, other than WrestleMania 9, like I can't think of one that was worse. But
Definitely
yeah,
definitely make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We really want to hear your thoughts on this because let us know if you enjoyed this because based on the general consensus, most people didn't, and we're curious to know what you guys think as well. Because this was just I don't know. I'm always positive about this stuff, and I can't even find a positive spin for it. So maybe you guys can help me get that.
Yeah, and thanks, Sean. I mean, completely to your point. The interactions we've had with you guys have been great, and we thank you so much for all the subscriptions and all the views. And this has been just a fantastic journey. We finally kind of made it to the end of WrestleMania here. But yeah, appreciate it so much, guys. Thank you for all of your subscriptions, all of your likes. With that, let's get into kick off the card proper then. So the night started off with the women's triple threat match for the WWE Women's World Tag Team or Women's World Championship. Jeez, I got a mouthful of cotton here. Between champion Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. And Io came out to the ring first, had just kind of a relatively standard entrance. Fine, looked good. Io always looks good. Bianca came out second, and she had a bunch of people kind of doing sort of like gymnastics and jumping ropes, and I guess one of them was maybe her stepdaughter. I think is what somebody had mentioned on X, which that was kind of cool that she was able to get her out there. And her entrance was awesome. I mean, Bianca looked good. She had this like big kind of rose, like all these like rose leaves sort of like made into a jacket, which looked pretty badass. I thought that was kind of cool. And then Rhea came out last, and Rhea always looks good and like just ridiculous over the top makeup, and she had this really sweet sort of skull helmet thing on as well. And this match was awesome. Like this match was just top to bottom. It was awesome. It was the best match of the night, in my opinion. And I think these three women just killed it. Like they absolutely killed it. And they got half the time that the main event got the night before. And I think these women put on just as good of a match. This match was awesome. And we got the right result. Io picking up the win. So what did you think of this match?
I'm actually glad that this match opened the show. Um, we got the result that we wanted. I know you guys didn't pick the same way I did, but
No, we did
um,
not.
I am so happy that Io retained and can now say that she's not irrelevant. Not that she ever was irrelevant, but now anybody who tries to overlook her can't even try to claim that. And my God, this was a hard hitting match. That massive spear from Bianca to Io, and all three women selling for each other, and then the way it ended with Io hitting the over the moonsault onto Bianca trying to pin Rhea. Oh my God, it was epic, and I'm wondering where they go with Bianca from this because I don't know if you noticed, but the amount of temper tantrums she was throwing in the ring during the match and then afterwards, maybe we're finally going to get that much awaited character change.
It's got to happen, right? Like she's got to turn heel. Like I mean, it makes so much sense now. I mean, the way that the crowds have been interacting with her, and she's just, we were watching WrestleMania last night with a pretty large group of people, and what somebody had made mention that like her character has just kind of been the same character for 4 years now. Like she was a heel when she was in NXT, but I mean now like she's just kind of been the same sort of baby face for her entire main roster run. It's time for a refresh for her. She needs it. Like she's stale with the crowd. Like you can clearly kind of tell that. And that's nothing taking away nothing from her wrestling skills because we've been really hard on Bianca on this channel a lot. And I just desperately think she is in need of a character refresh. 100%.
Oh, 100% agree. We've talked about it before when we've had T on with us, and it would be so much better if she was out there as a heel. With her skill set, I think that I'd actually be okay with her being a heel champion.
Yeah. And hopefully that's where they go, right? Like with Naomi and everything else like that, like they can find a way to bring the two of them together because of their history with Jade. And I mean, eventually we're gonna get that match between Bianca and Jade. It would make so much more sense if Bianca was a heel. But moving on to the next match, we had Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a match sponsored by the new Doom video game, which looks pretty sweet, by the way. And these guys came out just dressed to the nines. They looked fantastic in like that sort of, alien slaying Doom gear. Both of them just looked fantastic. And did a special shout out to Slayer doing the entrance for Damian Priest. That was really, really cool as well. I didn't actually know that those are the guys who did his entrance theme. That was really cool to see. And these guys left it all on the table as well. Holy crap, was this just a hell of a match? People going through tables, Priest, the match did end proper when Priest had put a chair up in between the two rope rings, and Drew McIntyre went and did a claymore, kicked Priest's face right into the side of that chair, and he just pinned him for the 1, 2, 3. I mean, that I was like, oh my God, when that happened to sort of finish that out. This was a hell of a match, though. Props to both of these guys for just leaving it all out there. What did you think?
You want to talk about hard hitting? My God, I'm amazed that neither of these guys are significantly injured from the beating that they gave each other. My only disappointment was what I mentioned before going into this. I really wanted to see someone hit with a slot machine. But the I don't know. I made mention of it too during the match when we were sitting there. The amount of unprotected headshots we're seeing in these matches again made me feel like we were back in the Attitude Era. Like apparently CTE isn't a thing for WWE anymore. The I mean, hell, with that last kick of Damian Priest's head into that chair, when I talk about concussion worthy, and it was the perfect move to end the match on, and the perfect ending to this short little feud that the two of them were in. Because I don't see this needing to go on any further, and it gave it a nice definitive ending and a nice, finally, an actual WrestleMania win for McIntyre that meant something and lasted more than 30 seconds. And shout out to McIntyre taking his brother's phone to tweet from the side of the ring.
That was so good. And I think, and I know we mentioned this during one of our prior videos, but I like this feud needs to be done now, right? Like these guys need to both go on to something else, I think. And, McIntyre, I mean, McIntyre, in my opinion, now for the work that he has done with CM Punk and now this feud, everything that man has touched in the last year to year and a half has been gold. You need to reward that man. He needs to be in the title picture. I don't expect him to be the one to beat John Cena, but you know what I do? Would not I would be perfectly content with if he was the one to beat Jey Uso. Like, I mean, you got to give that man his flowers. He has been killing it this last year and a half. He's been one of the brightest spots on your roster over the last 18 months.
Everything that McIntyre has been involved with has been pure money. The feud with CM Punk was just incredible from beginning to end. The way that they brought their real life disdain for each other into it. And you almost sort of felt that here with this feud too, with everything that's gone on between Priest and McIntyre since last year's WrestleMania when Priest cashed in on McIntyre. And I think that is a really good way to tell a story where it basically organically tells itself. And I think that honestly, that's part of the problem with that whole main event feud is that that story didn't tell itself; it was forced. Whereas something like this, you didn't have to even do much; the story told itself.
Exactly. Our third match of the evening was another just spectacular spectacle. And this was for the Intercontinental Championship, where champion Braun Breaker defended his title against Dirty Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor of the Judgment Day, and Penta. And this is kind of where Sean pulled well way ahead in the predictions. But but with that said, this match was awesome. These four guys left it all out there, and again, we got the right result. Dominic was the winner. He looked incredible when um he finally got the title. He looked so happy, like almost to the point where it seems like there's a face turn in his future. But I mean, props to the rest of these guys. Braun Breaker looks like a superstar. I mean, he's another one who's going to be in the main event of WrestleMania real soon. He looks so good. That spear he hit on Carlito, where he like literally was on the one announcer's desk and he speared Carlito on the other announcer's desk and somehow still managed to break it. Penta looked awesome. I mean, as he always does. It's nothing, just if you like other than the women's match, if there's any other match to watch on this show, go and watch this match. It was awesome from top to bottom. All four of these guys looked great, and I think the implosion of the Judgment Day is really going to be something to see now that Dom ended up pinning Finn when it was all said and done.
So I think bigger than Dom just winning is the fact that it was Finn that Dom pinned. They're gonna play it up like Finn's gonna be all mad that Dom pinned him, but he's gonna forget that he had just tried to cheap shot Dom and take the win at the end there. And it legitimizes Dom finally as taking that next step forward in his career. And you're right. There's with the way that crowd reacted for him, they have to turn him face. I have no idea how they do it, but they have to. That the crowd loved him claiming that belt, and I don't know. I love seeing Carlito get murdered by Braun Breaker. I wish there was a way we could see that happen every single Monday. But now that this ended, I think I see Braun moving on and being one of your contenders for the main title coming up.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, I think it's an absolute shame if he's not like in the Money in the Bank and maybe even wins the Money in the Bank and just straight up calls a shot for for winning that. Like, dude totally deserves it. He looks like $1 million, and he's fantastic. And I know Penta's only been in the WWE for a little while now, but he's another one. He looks great, and I am still of the mind that Penta is probably going to be the one to take that title off of Dom.
Oh, for sure. I can agree with that. My other question coming out of this match, though, is where do they go with the Judgment Day?
Well, they're probably going to need a new member now that Finn is going to be out of there. Dom has been pushing for a new member for a while, so we're gonna get somebody in there. Either be it somebody who's been just kind of floating for a while in WWE, or somebody from NXT who needs something to do where they call up.
And does Finn become a babyface by leaving, or does he stay a heel because of his attitude?
Good question.
I personally think Finn stays a heel. I mean, he's been through this whole storyline they've been telling with him arguing against Dom and everything. He's been incredibly heelish throughout that, and I feel like that's just the direction they need to keep with him. And honestly, I think he's a better heel than a face anyway.
I agree.
Even even if he brings the demon back, the demon always seems like more of a heel character anyway.
The crowd was never much behind him as a face. They were always way more into him as a heel, especially like when he was the Prince in NXT. Like they were really, really behind that character as a heel. So I think he needs to. I think he needs to stay that way. I think it works much better for him. This led us into the next match of the evening, which I'll let you take this one. Just kick us off for this one.
Hold on. We got something for this. All I know is that I called it a couple weeks ago. I should have stuck with my true belief, and I have never popped harder than I did to hear say his name, and he appears. TNA champion Joe Hendry answered the challenge to face Randall Keith Thornton at WrestleMania, and to hear that
So
crowd
good.
singing his song at WrestleMania, a show that he's not even part of, to hear thousands of people singing for him is absolutely incredible. And so many people are saying, "Oh, he got buried. It was such a short match." You have to look beyond that. The bigger point here is you have a man who isn't even part of the damn roster getting that WrestleMania pop, and then the rub afterwards from Orton of raising his hand to the crowd. And yeah, we all knew that he was going to eat another RKO, but for Randy to then do his signature turn around and like smile, but into the Randy Orton pose, absolutely priceless. And I think that you're going to see more of Joe Hendry, both as TNA champ and eventually in the WWE.
Yeah, completely agree. I popped just as hard as well. I was so happy to see Joe Hendry, and I'm so glad that people like aren't bored by this guy yet. And I like, they like kind of were like, "Oh, this is stupid," And no, he's great. And this was like what? Shame that we couldn't get Owens and everything surrounding Kevin Owens. Dude, I hope you get better soon. Like, you're the best. But this was great, and like I popped so hard for this. I love Joe Hendry. I think he's fantastic, and this was a lot of fun. This was the 100% the right person to bring out for this. Like I can't think of anybody better because you bring somebody like Aleister Black or Miro, right? Like one of these new guys who are going to be coming back. Then like maybe they got to win, right? And you got to have Randy lose, and because Randy was probably going to beat Kevin Owens, So I'm fine with it. I loved it, top to bottom. This was money.
And, and honestly, it's somebody who could afford to take a loss to Orton. Like I get it, an opposing company's champion, but this wasn't a title match. And I think the funniest line that people are saying outside of everything now is, does technically this make Orton the number one contender to the TNA belt?
Yeah, right.
I couldn't have asked for more, and I give absolute props to Triple H for working it out with TNA and getting him there because it's huge for TNA too.
Oh
Because you could
yeah,
say, "Oh, our champion was represented at WrestleMania," and that alone, the
against Randy
optics,
Orton. Yeah,
exactly, the optics of that are just incredible. And shout out to Orton wearing the old school,
yeah, that was
the
cool.
not quite his original gear when he had the shorts, but his like second set of gear. I really like that.
Yeah, that was nice. Um, yeah, just top marks all around. I believe in Joe Hendry.
You won't find a bigger believer than me right here.
The fifth match of the evening was Logan Paul versus AJ Styles. Um, so on the card, I feel like of the seven matches that we got, I mean, although the last match was short, right, only maybe 3 minutes or so, this one this one was disappointing. Like of all the ones I think of the night, this one, and it might have had to do with the way the story was told between these two guys or the lack thereof. But overall, I mean, obviously Paul and Styles, they put on a very good match, and that's kind of to be expected, right? Given the level of talent in both of those guys. And I know we've said on numerous occasions that we think Logan Paul is like an absolute douchebag, but my God, the dude can wrestle, and it pisses me off how well the dude can wrestle. And one of the things, one of the storylines from this, if you will, was some guy, one of Logan Paul's cronies, I don't even know who it was. He kind of came out, attempted to hand Logan Paul some brass knucks, and he was interrupted by Karrion Kross. And I kind of feel like, the way AJ came out of the ring and threw the brass knuckles away from Karrion Kross, who was trying to give them to him, is sort of just almost like this match acted as like a vehicle to further the story between Styles and Cross more so than it was like the match between the two guys. I don't know. What did you think about all this?
So first off, I really enjoyed Logan Paul's entrance. I thought the way that they presented him coming down to the ring with the drone and like the segmented entrance videos was really cool. Um, Kind of disappointed in just the overall like tenor of the match. Like it didn't really bring anything super special to the table. I mean, yeah, we saw them hit their moves back and forth, but not a whole lot of feeling to it, if you know what I mean. Um, However, I did like the fact that Karrion Cross interrupted the way that he did, and the whole thing where Karrion has been pushing AJ to do what needs to be done to stop Logan Paul, since Logan Paul isn't a wrestler and that he's basically just handed everything. He hasn't had to go through the like sacrifices and the trials and tribulations that they all have as tenured wrestlers. I really like that storyline, and I'm a little bit biased because I'm a pretty big Karrion Cross fan, and I don't know if anybody who's watching happened to catch his promo that he did today, um, where I don't remember who it was whose talk show he went on. I think it was Sam Roberts, and if you have a chance, watch it. And he talks about how AJ Styles had the opportunity to set things right for the true wrestlers in the locker room. He made a couple examples of like what his life was like coming into this, the sacrifices that have been made, and ended up storming out like pissed off. So I really think this is leading to something even bigger, possibly among all three men. Because you know as well as I do that Logan Paul is going to be like, I deserve to be here just as much as everyone else does, even though he's the world's biggest douchebag. I mean, he does put the work in, but he hasn't been on the road like these other guys. So if they can turn this sort of missed opportunity at Mania here into a bigger story, I'm all for that.
Completely agree. I'm really glad that like it's taken, I mean, how many years now? But I'm really glad that Karrion Cross is finally starting to get over with the fans. Like, good. I'm so happy for him. I've always, I've always had a soft spot for him, and I, uh, I'm just, I'm happy for him. So this led us into our sixth match of the evening, where we had the women's tag team championships, with champions Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defending against Lyra Valkyria, the women's intercontinental champion and mystery partner. And as it turned out, mystery partner was a returning Becky Lynch. And I mean, to no surprise, Becky got a ginormous pop. She looked great, by the way. Let me just preface this whole conversation with, my God, Becky looked like $1 million. I was super impressed. She looked good. And we initially were kind of thinking, is this going to be like sort of a short squash match? Can Becky still go? And Becky could go. Becky looked good, really, really good. And then obviously, we're going to spend the bulk of the time talking about Becky here because Becky's the story from this match. Lyra and Becky obviously did get the win, and we now have Lyra two belts, which is kind of cool. But yeah, Becky looked great, and she said after the fact that she's back, and she's back full time. She's like ready to go. So I mean, this match was what it was. I mean, obviously Becky wasn't going to lose, but more important than all of that, I think, what do you feel about Becky being back?
So love that Becky's back. I mean, it'll definitely it brings a huge injection of life back into that division. Becky Lynch, other than Bayley, I don't think there's anybody else who has as much of the heart and soul of that women's division. Just real quick point I want to make though about Bayley is I do kind of feel bad that this all came at the expense of her, and I wish that there was a better way they could have done this than having her get taken off the card. It does lead to the bigger question of who took out Bayley, but that'll be a question for obviously down the road. Um, the only thing I hope for is the inevitable turn of either Lyra or Becky on each other so that we can hopefully get that women's intercontinental belt onto Becky. Because I don't think Becky needs to be in the main title picture yet, but I do think putting one of those secondary belts on her would definitely bring a hell of a lot of prestige to whichever belt they put on her.
Yeah, yeah, 1,000%. And I mean, I know a lot of people are pissed right now, right? Because they kind of feel that WWE did Bayley dirty, and I'm kind of one of those people because I'm a big Bayley supporter. I love Bayley. I think she's just heart and soul of that women's division, and she really brings it like all the time, and she can always be counted on to be like the consummate professional. So, I don't think that they just purposely did Bayley dirty. I think that there's more going on here, and I have a feeling Bayley is going to get her flowers before this is like all said and done. Because Becky's not a piece of crap either, I don't think. And I don't think Becky would have wanted to do this to Bayley either. You know what I mean? Like Becky wouldn't have wanted to do this at the expense of Bayley, I don't believe.
Exactly.
So, um, yeah, so that was WrestleMania night two. We obviously talked about the main event a little bit here. Do you want to quickly touch on the Steve Austin thing?
So Steve Austin coming out to do the announcement of the attendance. Got to give him props for managing to not drive the ATV off that tiny little walkway. But
Wow.
he did run into the barricade, and I'm curious to see how much that woman attempts to sue the WWE for, even though nothing actually happened to her. The way she threw herself back like she had been shot. Nick
It's
Khan coming over there,
Yeah, people
but
are saying that like she's like an internet influencer or something like that. So yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna get
it's
into. I'm not gonna get into it. I don't know the full story. I don't want to just trash this person that I don't know. But like, I've been seeing whispers that she's like some kind of influencer, and like she's just doing it, making a scene for publicity. But not gonna touch
all I
that one.
know. All I know is that if that is the case, she needs to read the fine print on the tickets. Because I'm pretty sure that all WWE events, if you're in the lower floor area, the fine print of the tickets say that there's the chance that things can come flying into the audience. Um, and they're a billion-dollar company. they have their asses covered.
Yeah. Although it was a good thing that that happened prior to Austin pounding 6 beers, though.
See, everyone likes to make that to say that about Austin, but how much beer of that does he ever actually even drink?
That's
Most
true.
of it ends up on the front of his shirt.
That's true. But yeah, then obviously that led us into the main event, which we covered at length. So
The
yeah, that was WrestleMania night two. Yeah, thumbs way down. I mean, this show had some highlights for sure, but obviously it's how you leave them. It's always how
so
you leave them.
I can't give it a thumbs completely way down. I have to give it a thumbs up that turns into a thumbs down. Because up in most of the entirety of this WrestleMania, I enjoyed. Up until that the main event of night two, and I think maybe the New Day match are really the only two matches that I really couldn't get behind. And I don't, there's a lot of people out there saying that this was the worst WrestleMania ever, which we all know that's not true. It's WrestleMania 9. But I refuse to let two matches ruin the entire thing. Too many of these stars busted their asses out there and put on good work for us to shit on it. You know what I mean?
No, and let us preface with everything we said at the beginning of this episode was shitting on the main event, and mostly, honestly, not even shitting on Cody and John Cena because odds are they're just doing what they're told, right? Like this is shitting on The Rock. This is shitting on the corporate machine that like is responsible for putting this product out, and in a sense, kind of shitting on Triple H too a little bit because dude could have put his foot down and said, you know what? No, I'm trying to tell a story here, you piece of shit egomaniac. Like, let me tell the story. If you're not going to show up, let me do it the way I want to do it. And I know this is obviously conjecture because we don't actually know who had the final say, but this had The Rock written all over it.
Oh, 100%. It had Dwayne Stink all over it.
Mhm. So, yeah, any final thoughts?
Um, so going into Monday night tonight, what are you expecting?
Miro?
You think so? I mean, obviously we're going to expect hopefully a explanation from Heyman, and I believe Cena was advertised for tonight. Do
Cena,
we think that,
Cena and Seth are advertised. Jay is advertised. So Cody is
does
not. Cody's taking time off.
so is Roman, right?
I don't know, but I think Roman's supposed to be on SmackDown.
So does Dwayne show up tonight? Do they call it audible?
Oh my God. If that piece of shit shows up tonight and tries to make some kind of bullshit excuse, I'm like, it's got to be real goddamn good to to fix this mess.
Do you know what I'm terrified of? I'm terrified that The Rock's going to show up and that Cena's going to lay down for him,
Could you imagine?
and that you're going to end up with The Rock as the champion.
Could you imagine the
I would be
the
absolutely
the
disgusted.
the revolt? I almost want to do a live watch along now.
What time is it? What do we got?
It starts in like 15 minutes.
Well, I may put out a short during it because we're gonna see what happens. But
Yeah.
this is I don't know. I definitely hope we get some explanations. We're probably gonna see Becky. Um, Curious to see who do you think any call ups?
I don't know. I mean, we know that it's likely going to be Black on SmackDown on Friday because of the way that vignette said that was 4:25:25 when whenever that person in the smoke was going to show up. But that seems very likely that it's Aleister Black. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, there's always a debut or two. So Miro makes a lot of sense. Um, you know, I,
Braxium.
yeah, Braxium maybe that'd be cool too. Yeah, so guys, that was WrestleMania night two. Thank you so much. I know we kind of mixed it up a little bit with this podcast, but I think given everything that happened last night, it was a little bit more warranted. We're definitely going to keep it on the more upbeat for you guys. So look forward for our episode tomorrow on our review of Monday Night Raw and everything happens on the Raw after WrestleMania. And then this week, also look forward to our NFL content as well, because we got the draft coming up real soon. I think it's Thursday.
Yep.
And we're going to put out some content this week as well. Maybe on Wednesday, we will get something out for you on where we think some of the top 10 picks are going to be, what we think the Bills are going to do. See, obviously, as you can tell, we're in the 716. So we're going to tell you what we think the Bills are going to do and what you think that we need them to do to get over the hump here. So we're going to definitely start now that WrestleMania is really in the books. We're going to be bringing you guys a lot more football coverage as well. So thank you guys so much and enjoy the Raw after WrestleMania tonight.